an email from City Prepping, and if you don't know him, he's got a great channel all about prepping, being prepared, urban life, and now he's moved to a farm and he's getting chickens.
I'm going to be getting into chickens again. I had that at my last property, or my last house. The challenge here is we've got coyotes all over the property.
It's me, City Prepping. You just posted a comment on my video a few hours ago about predator proofing your chicken coop.
And I'll be sharing, you know, learning myself how to set up a predator-proof environment for the chickens, specifically for the cage, because there's totally different considerations when you've got coyotes in the area. So I've been starting in the composting, learning that. I'm going to be getting into raised bed gardens, and I'll be sharing with the channel, you know, as I'm learning. I've always wanted to get into bees.
Are you still getting stung? No!
The first thing you need to do is tame your pets. Your own dogs can be some of the biggest risks to your chickens. So make sure that your chickens and your pets are friendly with each other. So here's our coop. Let me show you some security features. The first line of defense is going to be this kind of metal mesh. Chicken wire, I don't even know why it exists, because chicken wire is about the weakest wire possible. This kind of wire is much better as far as coyotes. Their claws and stuff will not like getting caught in this. Also, underground, about this far out, we buried leftover strips from this part of the project underneath the ground. And that way, when dogs dig down to that, they get caught in it, they don't like it. So far, no problem. We've also put rocks along here, making it yet another uncomfortable place to dig. Keeping the chickens from getting out, we have extra wire up here above the door because the chickens started landing on this and using it as a way to get out. And we let them graze in our yard in the evenings, and they've been safe. We do have coyotes here, but so far so good letting them run around during the day. Maybe the coyotes are sleeping during the day. I've seen them during the day here before, but so far so good with not having coyotes in the yard. We do have some chain link fencing around the majority of the yard. And then over here, there's a bit of a wall. So an animal, if it really wanted to get in and it really searched the whole perimeter, it would find that we do have a weak spot. Some neighborhood dogs have gotten in. We've been lucky. The chickens were safe and our dogs alerted us to the threat. Here, when you put in this mesh, you have to make sure you have no gaps. So we had to put extra boards in to sandwich that so that nothing could get through there. The holes are too small for a snake to get through. However, mistakes were made. When we initially had this up, we got up to the roof and we left a gap up at the top of the roof there. Snakes can get in there. We had to come back and staple gun it up because snakes climb walls. Believe it or not, we watched a snake come up this wall and escape that way. Here's some footage from last spring when we had 2 rat snakes get in the chicken coop. They were curling themselves up underneath the chickens and eating the eggs as they fell out. And there was evidence of this. Now look in the back upper corner there. That snake scaled the wall and then managed to find where we had the littlest gap in the top of the hardware cloth there. We had the hardware cloth just bent over. He was sneaking out that way, and so that's where we trimmed it and staple gunned it in place, and now there's no snake gap. But seriously, you have to cover every spot to keep snakes out.
Here it comes.
I'm not.
Where the hell is he?
Just grab him and pull him through. Just grab him by the butt and pull him through. He's coming back this way. We left the snakes out and put on an infrared camera outside, and there is a fox that came up and he took care of the snakes for us. Also, one day I came out here and the cutest little thing was sitting up there. It was the most adorable rat you've ever seen, was sitting up there on top of that. So we actually had to seal up the top edge. Okay, we have there's an airspace here for ventilation for the chickens, the snake came out of the coop and up over that wall. So this perch here is almost entirely useless. We have a small door, and when it's cold, this door gets shut and latched. This is only to keep the chickens in. This is not going to keep a small animal out. If it really wanted in, it could pop that latch. We have a large door, and this is where I go to clean out the coop. I scrape out the coop with a hoe. Yours does not need to be as deep as ours is. Here's the nesting box. It also has a latch, okay? If we were having a problem with people stealing our eggs, we would put a lock on this. So think about that before, like, are you going to have a problem with people wandering through looking to steal your eggs? We could also lock this one. So get a latch that has a loop in it, because if things got really bad and there were people, like, you know, very hungry, they coming to look for eggs, you may need to protect yourself against people also. We put an antique window, and I painted it because I love painting. 3 eggs. You need about a square foot of space in each nesting box, and you need several nesting boxes. But if you have 11 chickens or 12 chickens, I would say you need at least 3 to 4 nesting boxes for comfort's sake. Ours always seem to nest in the same box though. 3 eggs, nicely done. Good job, ladies. I found a farm to take our 5 oldest birds who aren't laying anymore. We don't have the heart to eat them after all the work they've done for us. And these baby girls, in another 2 months, they should start laying us green and blue eggs, or one of those colors, I don't know. Then we're planning on replacing the 5 birds that I give away with 6 new birds that actually lay eggs. Come on, boy, let's go. Other security features. We framed out our area with 2x4s, and look, even up here, we have sandwiched in the cloth. You can't see the gaps in the cloth. Now, here, wire has been tied. That's how we have attached ours together, and it's so far so good. The only chicken we've lost has been due to heat stroke. It was 110 degrees that day that chicken just dropped dead. Our perimeter of our chicken yard is this kind of wire. Right at dark every night, the chickens walk up their little ramp and they go inside. So they are safe from almost all the bigger animals once they walk themselves in through that tiny door. Most of the day they are in this gated area by themselves. Sometimes hawks come down, but hawks are not circling down into our yard because, as you can see, we're very treed. And there's not a lot of room for a hawk to circle down. So far so good on the hawk front. It's February and our trees are already budding out. I'm getting a little nervous that we're not going to get any fruit again this year. That's the fruit salad tree. I haven't talked to you lately about a lot of the changes around here, but we have added a lot of trees this year. We just added 2 almond trees and a plum tree. So now we have 25 varieties of fruit and berry. As you know, if you watched my last video, I made wine from some grape juice, and so now we have the ability to make wine on site if there were an emergency, the kind of emergency you need a glass of wine for. Anyone could call this an orchard now. The frost isn't entirely killing our bok choy. We may not get any fruit this year because those flowers are about to bloom. And I don't know, I think that's a peach tree. That's pretty disturbing because it's February. It's way too soon. Maybe we'll get lucky. Your chicken coop has to be fully enclosed. It needs a roof because animals can scale walls. We have a corrugated steel roof on top of our chicken coop. I'll show you that. So you need a secure nighttime location for them. Better yet, I have a friend who's going to let me show you her coop. She's got her whole run enclosed. because she's in a very, she's even in a more dangerous animals area. But that didn't even make any sense. I hear nothing. Why do I hear nothing? Loyal dogs are the best. We'd never seen this done before, but we used rolls of flashing that we bent into a circle and then bolted together in order to hold up very deep amounts of dirt. And surprisingly, they really hold their shape. For a super secure coop, you'd need to build a frame for the entire area that your chickens are going to be in, and then cover the outside walls and the roof with wire. At night, after dark, and the chickens have gone up the ramp, we close this door. Hurry up, Scarlet! Sorry, almost crushed the bird there. At night, we close up this door and we latch it. And again, if there were people problems, we would definitely put a lock through here. We don't really have that sort of issue here, but this door is quite secure. And if you had to, you could latch it lower. Don't. So, see, if you push hard enough, you can get this door open a little bit. I did create a backstop. There's a backstop here. There's a backstop to keep the door from pushing in any further. If I hear them making a fuss, sometimes a hawk sits up in this tree. They'll all go running in here to hide, and I'll come out and lock them in. When we have baby chickens that we need to keep separate from the big girls, we store them in this little box down here and keep that closed at night with a rock in front of it so that the big girls can't come down and kill them. Gotta go make some tea. We have fewer coyotes than you do, but we still have them around. I recommend that your chicken run have a roof too. You definitely need your entire run area covered with a roof, and you'll have to bring in greens for them to eat and compost. Give them all your scraps. Keep them together, because it's not going to be safe for you to put your chickens in like a chicken tractor. A chicken tractor is just going to leave them too exposed. You're going to have to extend out the portion, the screen porch portion of your chicken's coop. Plus, the entire roof doesn't need to be corrugated steel. We just needed a shade area for ours, since they could be in there during the day and in that small space. So yours might just have a screen roof, since you have milder California temperatures. Thanks for asking for my input. Have a great day, y'all.